When most people think of Haiti, they just think of that little impoverished island that was struck by an earthquake, not realizing the country's deep-rooted history. However, it's important that people recognize all the blood, sweat, and sacrifice that form the country that exists today. Haiti, known in the 1700s as Saint-Domingue, was a colony owned by the French that existed on the western half of Hispaniola, the island that Columbus first came upon while traveling to the New World. Saint-Domingue was actually the most profitable colony in the world. It manufactured and traded sugar, coffee, tobacco, as well as many other resources. This made it the envy of all powerful nations. However, its prosperity could not exist without one single thing: slavery. The economy of Saint-Domingue was literally powered by it. However, this was not uncommon for the era. Most all other colonies depended on it as well. The overall abuse of slaves was also not uncommon. They were regularly treated as subhuman. Many minor, unorganized slave revolts occurred because of this. However, none actually proved successful in overthrowing their masters. Here's a little look at the demographics of the island around 1790. There were about 32,000 whites, 28,000 free people of color, and around 500,000 slaves. This means that the slaves made up for about 89% of the population. After a while, the slaves figured that the only way to truly gain freedom was to carry out an organized revolt. So in August of 1791, a priest by the name of Duddy Bookman held a voodoo ceremony which instigated a full-scale organized slave rebellion. This rebellion soon proved effective as many of the plantations were being overthrown and French soldiers were being defeated. Once France got wind of this, the government sent a delegation made up of a man named Santonax and 6,000 troops. In order to gain favor, Santonax declares equal rights for all free men of color. But in February of 1793, war breaks out between France and Great Britain, and Great Britain owns Saint-Domingue's neighbor, Jamaica. Not wanting to fight two enemies, Santonax makes a bold move. He abolishes slavery in Saint-Domingue in order to combine forces with the slaves to fend off the British. This proves successful as the British are soon pushed out of Saint-Domingue. With the slaves now free, they basically own the island. So their leader, a very upstanding and intelligent man named Toussaint Louverture, declares himself governor for life, while not declaring independence from France. This enrages Napoleon, the new emperor of France, because he has just lost his single greatest source of wealth in the abolition of slavery. So he decides to send his brother-in-law, a man named Charles Leclerc, along with 40,000 troops, on a mission to retake the island from Louverture. Many of Louverture's comrades, including his right-hand man, Dessalines, join sides with Leclerc as they do not see any problem with France controlling the island as long as slavery is abolished. Toussaint is now in a very bad situation. Recognizing this, Leclerc requests a formal diplomatic meeting where they could reach an understanding. Being a civilized man, Toussaint agrees. This turns out to be a bad idea, for as soon as Toussaint shows up, he is captured and sent off to prison, where he later dies. Napoleon seizes the opportunity and tells Leclerc to reinstate slavery in Saint-Domingue when the time is right. When Dessalines gets word of this, he takes control of the slave army and they retake up arms, preparing for a long fight. It turns out not to be as long of a fight as Dessalines anticipated due to yellow fever striking the island. This disease ended up taking out around 32,000 French troops as well as Leclerc. Unfortunately, Leclerc was replaced by an even more malicious man by the name of Rochambeau, who committed various crimes against humanity on the people of the island. But when he asked for reinforcements from Napoleon, he was denied, as Napoleon has problems of his own. Without any reinforcements, Rochambeau and his men are destroyed by the slave army. On January 1st, 1804, Dessalines declares independence from France. He names the new country the original native name for it, Haiti. The war was finally over, but the struggle was just beginning. Although the country is among the poorest in the world, its history is simply inspirational. No other time in history had a country's slave population successfully taken control of the nation.